form of money we have based on these characteristics. Today we use the US dollar. The US dollar can be created out of thin air, and Bitcoin's price is based on the US dollar. Bitcoin is a finite asset, while the US dollar is an infinite asset. There's no limit to how many dollars can exist. The US government can borrow dollars into existence. Based on all of these characteristics, Bitcoin is the best form of money we have. Fungibility refers to your ability to exchange one unit of a currency for another. If they both have the exact same value, they are fungible. Portability means how quickly you can move it around the world. Bitcoin is the best for this. You can move Bitcoin and get final settlement within minutes. Durability is, of course, important because you want your money to last for a very long time. The US dollar is only durable because you can exchange your physical currency for other units of currency if your currency is destroyed. Gold is very high for durability because you can't destroy gold. Bitcoin is, I would say, very high, but it doesn't have a very long history. That's the only thing that holds it back in terms of durability. The next characteristic is divisibility. This is whether or not you can break down a unit of currency and then put it back together with minimal loss. So if you had diamonds, for example, diamonds aren't that great for divisibility because if you break a diamond into smaller pieces, you're not going to have the same amount of value in aggregate if you put those pieces back together. So if you have one 5-carat diamond and you break it down into 5 1-carat diamonds, you're going to have in aggregate a lot less value. Bitcoin is great for this because you can break down the amount of Bitcoin that you have and you can put it all back together very easily. Gold is not very easily divisible because it's very difficult to measure the weight of gold. It's also very difficult to break it apart unless you have specialized machinery, specialized equipment. The US dollar is not scarce. It can be created at will, as I mentioned before. Bitcoin is the best for scarcity because we know exactly how much Bitcoin will ever exist. Decentralization is also very important. Decentralization just means that there's no person in the middle that can be attacked. Nobody can be sued or arrested and stop the financial system. Depending on how you transact with the US dollar, it's either centralized or decentralized. If you have physical dollars, you can transact with them without having to refer to a third party in the middle. With gold, it's the same thing. If you have physical gold, you can transact. You can give that gold to someone else and nobody else has to know. On the other hand, if you have digital dollars, like you have a bank account, for example, you have to go through a bank, and without a bank, you can't transact. Same thing with gold. If you want to use, let's say, some kind of gold-backed token, you'd require a custodian to hold that gold for you. Bitcoin is really great for decentralization because everybody can hold their own Bitcoin, while on the other hand, with gold, that's not possible. The last characteristic here is salability. This is the ability for you to sell your currency or your asset for other goods and services. Bitcoin isn't very widely accepted yet, but eventually it will be. The last one here is tulips, because a lot of people like to compare Bitcoin to tulips. If we look at tulips in the same context as Bitcoin, gold, and US dollars, tulips do very, very badly in every single one of these characteristics except decentralization, because anyone can create tulips. And the last thing that I want to show you here before we go into the retirement calculator is the top assets by market cap. I think Bitcoin is going to continue to climb this rank. I think it's going to go to 5th, 4th, 3rd. It's going to eventually be ahead of gold. It's going to be ahead of Apple. It's going to be ahead of everything. We can see here how many things that Bitcoin is already ahead of, how many assets. We can see here silver, Meta, Saudi Aramco. There's actually the S&P 500 here as well. Bitcoin is worth more than the S&P 500 Trust, the SPY. This is one of the biggest ETFs in the world.